Dobrý den, já vás zdravím u dalšího videa. Welcome to my new video. Today we are going to look at modal verbs. This is a topic that I haven't discussed much, except for one video, if I remember correctly, where I introduced the verb meet. So today I want to do kind of like an excursion into these verbs, modal verbs. We will see different combinations with these verbs and different tenses. This video will be perfect for beginners, but I think also those more advanced will find some interesting examples. Jdeme na to. Ahoj, vítejte na mém kanále Czech by Zuzka, kde vám pomocí angličtiny vysvětluju českou gramatiku. First, let's see what is a modal verb. Modal verb is an auxiliary verb that helps us express certain condition. For example, possibility that you can do something, intent or desire that you want to do something, ability that you can or are able to do something, necessity, obligation that you have to, or permission that you may do something. So these modal verbs usually don't stand on their own. There is another verb with the full meaning, and that will be in the infinitive form. In today's video, I'm going to talk about these 6 modal verbs. So we're going to take a look at this sentence, or actually 6 different sentences that have the same base. Udělat pizzu, to make a pizza. That is the base. You can see that this verb is in the infinitive form. Udělat is to make. To make a pizza. Now, these are the modal verbs. These will moderate the sentence and change the meaning slightly. This will not change. For example, musím udělat pizzu. Musím udělat pizzu means I have to make a pizza. Must or have to. Musím means both must and have to. Either that someone told me that I have to make this pizza, or I simply must because it's my conviction that I need to make a pizza. Musím udělat pizzu. I have to make a pizza. Mám udělat pizzu. Mám. Mám doesn't only mean to have. When it's combined with another verb, it means that you are supposed to do something, or you shall do something, you should. Mám udělat pizzu. I'm supposed to make a pizza. Someone told me to. It's my obligation. Musím and mám both express certain obligation. Of course, musím is stronger. Now, smím udělat pizzu. Smím means I may make a pizza, as in I am allowed to make a pizza. This sentence would probably not be very common. Smím is used more in the negative form. Nesmím, I must not, I cannot do something. Smím udělat pizzu could be maybe, I don't know, my parents allowed me to do it, but even then it would be too formal. Smím in this form, in the affirmative form, is a little formal. So I can make a pizza. Chci udělat pizzu. I want to make a pizza. Chci. We express our desire, our intent. Chci udělat pizzu. I want to make a pizza. Umím udělat pizzu. I can make a pizza, but careful. Pozor. It means more like I know how to make a pizza. I know the recipe, I know what to do in order to make a pizza. I know how to make a pizza. Umím. Umím talks about our ability. Můžu udělat pizzu. Můžu means I can make a pizza. That could be a suggestion. We express the possibility. I can make a pizza, I have the ingredients for it, or I have time, I can make the pizza. I suggest, hey, we have ingredients for pizza. Můžu udělat pizzu. So these two are different. Umím udělat pizzu. I can make a pizza, as in I know how to. Můžu udělat pizzu. I can make a pizza. Notice that this base form stays in the infinitive. These are the modal verbs we are going to discuss here today. Let's see them in more detail. We are going to start with muset. Muset is have to and must. First, I want to go over the conjugation in the present tense. So how to say I have to. I used green color because this belongs to the green group, the second group when it comes to the conjugation. You can find this color coding and this particular worksheet on Buy Me a Coffee. You can see the different verbs divided into groups. This belongs to the green group. I have to. Já musím. Ty musíš. If you know this, say this along with me. Help me. Ty musíš. Ona to musí. Musí. My musíme. Vy musíte. Oni, ona musí. You can see that these two forms are identical. That's typical for this group. So let's underline the endings. Musím, musíš, musí, musíme, musíte, musí. Of course, the present tense is not the only tense that you can use, but first let me give you an example with it. For example, dnes musím dopsat seminárku. Today I have to finish writing my seminar paper, like a final paper for school. Dopsat, I have to finish writing. Dnes musím dopsat seminárku. That would be the present tense. In past tense, včera jsem musela dopsat seminárku. Yesterday I had to finish writing my seminar paper. It's a regular verb in past. In the future tense, we will use budu. Zítra budu muset dopsat seminárku. Tomorrow I'll have to finish writing my seminar paper. Zítra budu muset dopsat seminárku. And conditional as well. Maybe someone tells you, let's go out, and you say, no, I would have to finish writing my paper first. Musela bych nejdřív dopsat seminárku. Musela bych nejdřív dopsat seminárku. You can also put nejdřív at the beginning. Nejdřív bych musela dopsat seminárku. Then you reorganize everything because of bych has to be on the second position. This is also typical in the negative form, which you simply make it like this. You put ne in front of it and you keep it as one word. Nemusím, nemusíš. Už to nemusíš dělat. You don't have to do it anymore. Už to nemusíš dělat. So remember, muset expresses obligation. You have to do something. Someone told you to do something, or it's your belief. And when you say nemuset, nemuset means not have to. You have a choice to do it or not to do it. Let's see another verb. Next is the verb mít. In this case, doesn't mean to have, but it means to be supposed to do something. The full phrase, a very formal phrase, would be mít povinnost, literally to have an obligation. So this will make you understand where we got this word from. But it's rarely used in this full form. You would just say mám and then the infinitive. I used the blue color because this belongs to group 1, the blue group. Let's see the forms in the present tense. Já mám. Just like the verb to have. It's exactly the same. It's the verb to have, except we add an infinitive to it, and it means to have an obligation. That you are supposed to do something because someone told you to. Takže já mám, I have, or I am supposed to. Ty máš. Ona to má. Má. My máme. Vy máte. Easy, right? You know this. Oni, ona mají. Let's see the endings. Já mám, ty máš, on má, my máme, vy máte, oni mají. Now, how do we use this verb? For example, someone wants to tell you your group is too loud. You're supposed to be quiet. So they say, shh, máte být potichu. You are supposed to be quiet. Máte být potichu. So we have máte and then být, which is in the infinitive form. And the rest of the sentence. Máte povinnost být potichu. It sounds a little weird, but it would have the same effect. We just say máte být potichu. Now, the past tense. Měli jste být potichu. Careful, because this sentence could have two meanings depending on the context. It could mean you were supposed to be quiet. You were supposed to be quiet, měli jste být potichu a nebyli jste. You were not quiet. Or it could be you should have been quiet. Měli jste být potichu. I told you, you should have been quiet. Now we are in trouble. This verb doesn't have the future tense. If you want to say that you will have an obligation in the future, you could use the word povinnost. In that case, it would make sense. Budu mít povinnost chodit do školy. I will have an obligation to go to school, attend school. But you cannot say budu mít chodit do školy. You could say budu muset chodit do školy. I will have to go to school. But mít by itself does not have a future tense when it means to, supposed to. Conditional works. Měli byste být potichu. You should be quiet. Měli byste být potichu. We could also see more examples. If you have a question, mám být potichu? It would work more like shall I be quiet? Mám být potichu? We often use this verb when we suggest something, like shall I open a window? Mám otevřít okno? So in questions, it translates to shall or should. Or you're in a hurry and then you hit your foot. So someone tells you, nemáš pospíchat. You shouldn't be rushing. Nemáš pospíchat. If you were not rushing, then you wouldn't have hit yourself. So we use this a lot also. If you want to tell someone you should not do this, you can use a more direct way. Nemáš to dělat. You shouldn't do it. Nemáš kouřit. You shouldn't smoke. Then you wouldn't be coughing that much. The next verb is smět, which is to be allowed to or may. If we use it in its affirmative form, it's very formal. So maybe if you have like a list of rules what you may and may not do, you could have this verb, but in conversations it's very rare. Maybe in the past, maybe 50 years ago. So let's see how to conjugate it. It's green group, so it's just like musím, the same endings. Já smím, ty smíš, on, ona, ono, smí, my smíme. Looks like spíme now when I think about it. Smíme, vy smíte, oni smí. Actually, here we can have another form. We can say smějí, oni smějí. You see the endings. Smím, smíš, smí, smíme, smíte, smí or smějí. In a formal conversation or in something a little bit more outdated, someone could say smíte odejít. You may leave. Smíte odejít. Now in the past, směl jsem odejít dřív. I was allowed to leave earlier. Směl jsem odejít dřív. Or you could ask, which would be very, very polite, formal. Směl bych odejít dřív? Could I leave earlier? Směl bych odejít dřív. In the future tense, it's possible, but it's not very common. Budu smět. But what is more common is the negative form. Simply when we put ne in front of it, nesmím, it means I mustn't. So it's an interdiction. This is much more common than the affirmative. So for example, nesmíš odejít. You mustn't leave. Nesmíš odejít. Or what I always tell my students, that if you listen to dog owners, they will always tell their dogs sooner or later, nesmíš, you must not, don't touch it, you're not allowed. Or someone is baking a cake, placka. In Czech we have this word placka, which means a flat cake, something that you easily put together. Is not a cake like a traditional tall cake. Your grandma tells you, hlídej tu placku, nesmí se spálit. Watch that cake, it cannot burn, it must not burn. Nesmí se spálit. That's how it works. And one more phrase you would probably hear in a movie. Smím prosit. Smím prosit means, may I ask you to dance? So in Czech we do have these formal balls where people dance or learn how to dance. So I imagine this sentence would still work. Smím prosit. Our next verb is umět, also a green group, which means to know how to do something. It can also be translated as can, but be careful. This is about the skills. We describe the skills what we can do. How do we conjugate it? Very easily we take away this ending. Já umím, ty umíš, on, ona, ono umí, my umíme, vy umíte a oni umí. You clearly see the endings. Umím, umíš, umí. Umíme, umíte, umí. One interesting thing about this verb that is also typical to be used without the infinitive. So when you have something else in the sentence, like an object. For example, you want to say, I know how to play the piano. I can play the piano. You could say, umím hrát na piano. Umím hrát, I know how to play na piano. But in informal Czech, it's very common to leave out hrát. So you could say, umím na piano. And it would be understood as, yes, I can play the piano. Or if you say, umím uvařit svíčkovou. I know how to make svíčková, this Czech dish. So you could also say, umím svíčkovou. I know how to svíčková. I know how to make svíčková. Of course, when it's clear from the context, what is it that you could do? We can leave out the verb. In the past, we can use this as well. Uměla jsem hrát na piano. Or uměl jsem hrát na piano. I knew how to play the piano. Or I could play the piano. Budu umět hrát na piano, až se to naučím. I will know how to play the piano once I learn it. Or a conditional form. Uměla bych hrát na piano. I would know how to play the piano. This verb is also typical in the negative form. Neumím, neumíš. For example, Karel neumí říct ne. Karel doesn't know how to say no. Cannot say no. Karel neumí říct ne. And notice how we pronounce it. We say neumí. EU is not a diphthong. It's not EU. It's EU because we break it. Neumím, neumím, neumíš, neumí. Our next verb is chtít. I used the red color. It's a little irregular in the present tense. You probably know this. It's used so much. I want is já chci, ty chceš, on, ona, ono, chce, my chceme, vy chcete a oni chtějí. Or if you're from Moravia, you could say chcou and já chcu. The endings are chci, but this is an irregular ending specific for this verb. Normally there will be u, so the Moravian conjugation makes more sense. Chci, chceš, chce, chceme, chcete, chtějí. This verb can also work very commonly without the infinitive, just like the previous one. Chci si koupit nové boty. Chci si koupit nové boty. I want to buy myself some new shoes. That's why the si is there. Chci si koupit nové boty. And you could also leave out koupit. Chci nové boty. Now, of course, it would not be specific. You would not know what you want to do with these new shoes. Maybe you want them as a gift. You don't want to buy them yourself, but the idea is that you want to own new shoes somehow. In the past, chtěl jsem si koupit nové boty. I wanted to buy myself some new shoes. Chtěl jsem si koupit nové boty, nebo chtěla. In the future, budu si chtít koupit nové boty. I'll want to buy myself new shoes. And in the conditional form, chtěl bych si koupit nové boty. I would like to buy new shoes for me. And as I said, it's very typical without the infinitive form when you leave out the main verb. I also had a video about this 2 years ago maybe. Chci ven. I want to go out. You don't have to say chci jít ven. Informally, we just leave it out and it sounds more natural. Chci ven. I want out. Chceš domů? Do you want to go home? Chceš jít domů? Chceš domů is more typical in spoken Czech. And of course, the negative form is like this. Nothing strange about it. Nechci, nechci. Let's see an example with the conditional in the negative form. Nechtěla bych být na tvém místě. I wouldn't want to be in your place. Nechtěla bych být na tvém místě. And our last verb is moct, which means can or be allowed to. Remember, moct and umět are different. We mean that we are able to do something, it's possible for us at the moment. Not that we have the skill. It's also group 4, a little irregular. And this one is irregular here in the middle as well. Já můžu, I can. Já můžu, ty můžeš. On, ona, ono může, my můžeme, vy můžete a oni můžou. One interesting thing is that this pronoun and this pronoun can have two forms. You could also sometimes see this form mohu or mohou. What is it for? It's a formal form. Já mohu, it's very formal. Oni mohou, also very formal. At least it resembles more the infinitive. If you use this, or if you hear it, you would know that it's a formal context, or someone wants to sound more proper. Let's see the endings. Můžu. Here is u. Můžeš, může, můžeme, můžete, můžou, or mohou, also both o. So you could ask someone, můžeš mi pomoct? Can you help me? Můžeš mi pomoct? Mohl jsi mi pomoct? This would be, you could have helped me. Mohl jsi mi pomoct? You could have helped me. This is something that's often confused if you used moct in the past. It's something that happened. You could have. Mohl jsi mi pomoct. Whereas if you want to say you could help me in the future, then you would use the conditional form. Mohl bys mi pomoct? Could you help me? Mohl bys mi pomoct? You could use the future tense as well. Budeš mi moct pomoct? Here you can see that these two verbs are actually, they have the same base and the same conjugation. Moct and pomoct. Will you be able to help me? Budeš mi moct pomoct? And for example, an operator could ask, jak vám můžu pomoct? How can I help you? Or if they want to sound more formal for some reason, they could say, jak vám mohu pomoct? Even pomoct would have this archaic ending, pomoci. Jak vám mohu pomoci? When it's like a chatbot, they could also have this phrase, jak vám mohu pomoci? And remember the difference between můžu and umím. For example, if you say, umím plavat, I know how to swim, I learned it, I can swim. But if you say můžu plavat, it means either I'm allowed or today I'm physically able to. Maybe yesterday I was a little ill still, but today I'm fine. Můžu plavat. Okay, that's it. If you need to revisit these verbs, just rewind the video. You can make your own sentences. Remember, all these verbs go together with an infinitive. You can also watch some related videos that I made in the past. You will find the links below the video, as well as the link to this worksheet if you are interested in it. And now it's time for an exercise. This exercise is going to be interesting because there will be a dialogue between two men, Karel a Tomáš. And I specifically designed it so you use a lot of these verbs, these modal verbs. So you will take a look at the dialogue and complete some missing forms. You don't have to change the forms that are missing. Just choose the one that makes sense. And we will check it now. I will actually leave this space and we will listen to the dialogue. Just focus on the text and the audio.
Chceš řídit ty, Tomáši? Ne, já neumím řídit standard. Cože? Proč neumíš? To přece musí umět každý. No, jak to mám umět, když mám auto s automatem? Ale v autoškole si musel řídit standard, ne? Ne, chtěl jsem dělat řidičák jen na automat. To je blbost. Jak jsi mohl dělat autoškolu jen na automat? Dneska se to nemusí. Automat je moderní a navíc lepší. A výsledek? Nemůžeš mi pomoct v nouzi. Jednou tě to musím naučit. V jaké nouzi? Co to povídáš? Nesmíš to tak prožívat, Karle. A co vůbec ty? Umíš řídit auto s automatem? Asi neumím. A ani nechci. Tak vidíš.
Many of these verbs are also in my ebook, The 100 Most Frequent Czech Verbs. So if you want to see more examples, you can check this ebook. If you have any questions or want to share anything with others, feel free to drop a comment below. Budu se těšit zase příští týden. Mějte se. Čau.